Hey everyone, Dan Lippert here with a video on how to build your own decentralized application on Ethereum using the Embark framework. The Embark framework is a great way to get started building decentralized applications, and it makes a lot of the difficulty in building these applications super simple. From running your own blockchain to doing tests, connecting to IPFS, the interplanetary file system for hosting your files. Embark is just a absolutely great framework to use when building a Dapps, and it makes it super easy. If you can build a web page, you can probably build your own decentralized application, and then you're on your way to collecting all that sweet ICO money and all that ether. So let's check it out. Alright folks, before we get into programming our own Dapps, the first thing we're going to do is install Embark, which is a Dapps development framework for Ethereum. And we're going to check out the demo application, make sure everything's installed and running nicely. Now, I had a little bit of problems setting up Embark, and you may too, so I'm going to give you some additional instructions that make sure that your installation is as clean as possible and that you won't have any kind of problems once you get Embark up and running. So first things first, go to the Embark website, embark.statusim. You can follow along here and go to the documentation, and I believe it's the getting started guide. Here the overview. We've got some installation instructions. The first thing you're going to want to do is use Node Package Manager to install Embark. Before we do that, I want to make sure that you have Node Version Manager set up on your machine. That way, there's not going to be any problems with the way you've installed Node. We're going to do a clean install of Node first, and then we'll go ahead and install Embark on top of that. So go over to the NVM GitHub. It's github.com/creationix/nvm, and you'll see there's a curl command down here to install NVM. Now, generally I don't like to install things this way, but this seems to be the way that NVM is generally installed, so I suppose you could trust it. Check it out, decide for yourself. It seems to be safe, and if you're a Node developer or JavaScript developer, get at me and let me know what's up with this, why you guys like to install things this way. It's kind of interesting, but anyway, we'll get to it. So just copy and paste this command in your terminal, and I've already got it installed, so you'll see something slightly different, but just go ahead and paste it, and then give it a little time. First it will download. Is it done already? What do you think? Nope. Oh, there we go. All right, so now that we have NVM installed, first thing we're going to do here is actually install Node. So just do NVM install Node. Oop. So here's a issue that you might see depending on what operating system you're on. NVM is not by default part of your path. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But as NVM installs itself, it will make some edits to the startup scripts that run your terminal. And so all we'll have to do here is resource that startup script. In my case, it's called bashrc, and it's in my home directory. But I'll just resource that, type NVM, we can see that it now works. And then we'll install Node. So that will install the latest version of Node, and then to use it, we have to do nvm use node. And if you type which node, now you can see that indeed we are using version 10.7.0, which is what you're going to want to use for Embark here. So now that we've got that all taken care of, we can actually go ahead and install Embark. And so the way to do that is just the npm installed tac-g embark. That'll go ahead and download and install the Embark framework. All right, now we've got Embark installed. We've got a bunch of fun warnings. The next thing we have to do, and the last thing we have to do before we get started, is to actually go ahead and install Ethereum. So on Mac, you just do a brew install Ethereum. And depending on what OS you're on, the command might be different. You might use just a Linux package manager. Sure, Windows has something different. So just look up the general Ethereum install instructions and figure out what works for your system. I think on the Embark webpage, there's actually some additional directions here. Yeah, so on Mac OS, you can just brew install Ethereum. Oh, actually, first you have to add the package repository with brewtat. On Linux, similarly, you have to add the package repository and then go ahead and install it. All right, so now that that's done, and like I said before, make sure you add the special Ethereum repository before you do it and update your package manager. Then we should be ready to go. So first we'll type Embark Demo, and that will set up the demo that comes as part of Embark. All right, great. Now that that's set up, we can go ahead and follow the directions here. We'll go into that directory and we'll run it. And this will bring up the Embark Dashboard. What the Embark Dashboard does is it gives you some logs about the build processes that are happening, the packaging processes, booting up the various different processes that it needs, such as a blockchain node, IPFS, which I've installed, you may not have installed on your machine, and we'll get to that in a future video. Also booting up the web server, etc. So as you can see here, this happens to me fairly often. The blockchain process ended before the end of this process. If this happens to you, all you have to do is go ahead and open up a new console, a new terminal, and do Embark blockchain. And what that will do is it will start the blockchain process on its own, and then the Embark dashboard will be able to connect to that. So as you can see here, it says Ethereum node detected, and now we should be good to go. So it's compiling the Solidity contract. Solidity is the language you use to program a smart contract on Ethereum, also on quite a few other smart contract platforms, such as Quantum, and it's compatible with a few others as well, Counterparty, I believe. And so something went wrong here. Okay. All right. So if you're like me, and maybe you have some problems with some of the different processes booting up, don't worry. A lot of times just restarting the Embark dashboard, especially if you had to boot the blockchain up before restarting the dashboard, will help. Embark is doing a lot behind the scenes. It's running a lot of sub-processes, connecting to a lot of other processes on your machine. So, and it's dealing with a lot of kind of interesting permission stuff. So you have to be very careful not to install anything as sudo. Anyway, just a lot of things can go wrong in my experience. It is a very new framework in the grand scheme of things, and so it does have some bugs, so you do have to be careful. But if you stay tuned to this channel, I'll be sure to help you, and if you have any problems, just leave a comment down below and I'll help you out. So if everything goes well, this is what you should see. In the top right here, we've got our status listed as ready. So if that's good to go, we should be able to load up the web server. And we can see here that it's at localhost port 8000. So we'll just go to our browser here. Oops. And we'll go ahead and load that up and see what we've got. So here we can see it's loaded up a web page from a web server that the Embark dashboard is running for us. It's thinking about it, it's thinking about it, it's thinking about it. Now, all right, great. So here's the Embark demo. It's got a couple different features. It allows us to set a very simple data value, allows us to get that value. It also allows us to save various text and upload a file using IPFS. And that also gives us some peer-to-peer communication through Whisper, which is Ethereum's messaging protocol. We can get into that stuff in another video, but right now we'll just focus on the blockchain stuff so we can get into programming our dApp. So if you go ahead and give it a shot here and click set value, what you're going to see is it doesn't actually work. And the reason for that is that we need to make sure that MetaMask is connected properly. So go ahead and make sure, MetaMask is booted. Shoot, I lost them. Yeah, make sure MetaMask is booted. If you see this, that's not good. So what we're gonna have to do, close this old session, boot up MetaMask here. I recommend using the Brave browser just because it's built specifically to have good MetaMask support. And then we got to make sure that we're connecting to the correct network. So here I've got this already set up. But what you're going to want to do, and I'll show you here in a second, is, go into your settings here. And, yeah, you can do it through settings, or actually go ahead and click the networks icon. It will probably be on the main Ethereum network when you first start. And then just scroll down and go to custom RPC. Because we're running our own blockchain here through Embark, excuse me. And so we got to make sure it's pointing at that and not at the actual Ethereum network. So by default, it runs on localhost 8555. So we'll go ahead and click save. Close this out. Make sure we're connected on 8555. And if everything is working appropriately, then you'll see this load up. And as you can see, I've been running some other transactions on here. You won't see that, but you won't see any kind of like spinner or anything, and that will mean that you're connected. Now the issue here that I have, and we'll go ahead and load up the Dapps again, is that I don't have any Ethereum in this account. So what are we going to do? We're going to set it up so that we, as we're running our own chain, we automatically award ourselves some Ethereum so that we can go ahead and make transactions. So first thing we're going to do is copy our account, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up in the configuration. So open up another new terminal window, and we're going to edit the configuration to do two things. One, we're going to set it up so that our address is used to deploy the contract, and also our address is awarded some Ethereum by default to start. So I believe this is in the, no, not in Embark JSON, chains JSON, possibly. Let's check out the documentation real quick. So I think it's under the smart contract section. And if you scroll down, you'll see deploy your account, using accounts in a wallet. And here we go. When in development, you can also specify the balance of each account as well. So I'm trying to think which file this is in. Is it in contracts.json? Let's check it out. Or .js, excuse me. Okay, yep, this looks good. So we'll just uncomment this line here. It starts with a comma to end the previous entry. And we'll replace, well, actually, we don't use our public address, but we use our private key. So we're going to have to go export that from MetaMask. And I'll show you how to do that right now. So we'll go into MetaMask. And I'm going to set up a new account. All right. So that gives me a new address. And then if I go into the details for this account, I can export the private key. It's going to ask you for your password. Go ahead and type that in, and here's your private key. Now you definitely don't want to do this with a key that you use for something else. Use it for My Ether wallet. You hold Ether, real Ether in it. Make sure you're setting up a new account, a new address for this. All right, we'll go back into the configuration here. We'll paste that private key in. We'll save the file. And then we'll go ahead and go back to our dashboard. We'll exit out. And we'll also close down our blockchain process and reboot that. And hopefully it won't, oh, there's an error here. So we should probably go fix that. Ah, yes. Forgot to get rid of the end here, the comment. We'll go ahead and reboot that. All right. Fantastic. And then we'll reboot the Embark Dashboard so that our Dapps starts up. Whoop. Didn't like that. Had some problems starting up. Like I said, this happens. Huh. No such file in the directory. Open. Oh. Probably something wrong in this configuration again. Yes, indeed. These are additional sample ways to go ahead and set up your account. We don't need those, so we'll just clean that up a little bit. Thanks, Embark, for double checking my work. All right, now we've got it started, and we'll just watch it real quick to see if the token deploys, or rather the contract deploys. Looks like everything's set up, still building, and now the web server is running. So we'll go ahead, go back to our DApp here, reload it, and then let's take a look at MetaMask and see if we have any Ether. All right, $2,000, not bad, not bad. So let's check this out. We'll set the value to 500. And nothing will happen. But if you notice in the top right, if you're using Brave, if you're using Chrome, it will probably pop up automatically. We've got a little badge here indicating that we have to go ahead and confirm this transaction. So we'll click confirm. We'll show submitted. And then if we wait a moment, it will say confirmed. Now we'll be able to get our value, and it is 500. And just to confirm, we'll just try saying it again. Once again, open back up MetaMask. And we'll wait for it to load here, and we'll go ahead and confirm. Now it says submitted, and if you get value, we're not getting anything different quite yet. And now it's been confirmed, and it says the current value is 750. All right, so that wraps it up for just getting Embark installed, checking out the demo. In our next video, we'll actually start creating the Dapp, so make sure you stay tuned. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please give me a like and a subscribe. That will help other people like you to be able to find this video and get the information they need. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.